Alright, in this we're finding the sum. So we know, and we know it's a geometric. So sum of a geometric is going to be equal to a1 times 1 minus r to the n power over 1 minus r. Now we've done some of these in class, but we have fractions here, and so that may bother you a little bit. But let's go ahead and convert these to decimals. These two convert to decimals pretty nicely for us. So it'll be 0.75. All we're doing is taking 4 and dividing it into 3, and we end up with 0.75. And we'll do the same thing for the 9 over 20. Now when we divide the 9 over the 20, we end up with 0.45. Okay, so we need our common ratio. So our common ratio is going to be 0.45 over 0.75. So we end up with 0.6 as our common ratio. Now we can plug into our formula over here. So I'm going to take A1, which is 3/4, which we converted to a decimal as 0.75. Okay, then we have 1 minus R. Okay, now R is 0.6, and then we're going to take that to the 8th power because we have 8 terms. Okay, and then we have 1 minus 0.6. Alright, so we end up with 0.75 times 1 minus, let's go ahead and put that in our calculator, 1 minus 0.6 to the 8th power. And we end up with 0.9832038. I really don't care if we write all this out, but I just want to make sure everybody sees where the numbers are coming from with this. And that's all over 0.4. So I'm going to go ahead and divide that number by 0.4 and multiply that by 0.75. Okay, and so we should end up with a 1.8435072. Now if you just do 3 decimal places, I'm good with that, but our sum is going to be close to this for this problem. Alright, now let's look at question 12. Alright, in question 12, similar type problem. Let's go ahead and, okay, we're summing. So our formula, A1 times R to the N, it's A1 times 1 minus R to the N over 1 minus R. Now, in this particular case, A1 is 3, or negative 3, so let's put negative 3 times 1 minus R. Well, we don't know what R is. So what we'll do is go over here and take 12 and divide by negative 3. Now remember, it's any 2 terms in the sequence. We could take negative 48 and divide it by 12. But we end up with negative 4. And we're going to take that to the 10th power. That's our N. Now, word of caution here, 2 things. One is with this is just telling us that this one's negative and this one's positive. Now down here, a common mistake is, especially with certain calculators, is to take this and come up with a negative number. It's not going to be negative when you take it to the 10th power. Anytime you take a negative number to an even power, or for that matter, anytime you take anything to an even power, you'll end up with a positive number. When we do this, we'll end up with negative 3, and then 1 minus 4, let me clean that up, 1048576. Okay, now we'll end up subtracting because of this, but this number is actually positive. All over, now almost left off a negative sign there, negative, negative, so that's going to end up adding, so that's going to be 5. So we end up with negative 3 times 1048575, all divided by 5. Now this number is negative, So we have we're going to end up with a negative times a negative eventually, which will be positive. Now, when we crunch our numbers here, we end up with 629, 145. Okay, so that's the sum of this particular sequence. So, well, series. So if we took all the first 10 terms and add them up, we'll end up with 629, 145.